Hello there, I can see people slowly ticking in. We'll just give it a few minutes before we start, just to allow for people to join. So it's 12 o'clock here, so I always appreciate it's people's lunch breaks sometimes if they're here or in nearby time zones. So it might take a minute to get out of a meeting or anything to come and join us. So we'll just start in a few moments. So, but while we just wait for people to come in, I'm just going to check the settings that we have. For those of you that have perhaps joined us before, we always like to check our settings. So if you want to let us know where you are in the world, where you're joining us from, please do let us know in the chat, as it's always nice to check that it's working. I've had it before where I've not had the settings on correctly. Welcome, people ticking in. I'm in it's actually quite sunny and clear out in London today, if anyone is nearby, which is nice.
I'm in London where I am, it's very cold and grey.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
It's quite, maybe I'm in a sunny spot over here on campus. Oh, Jake's in Hertfordshire. Jake, I think I've seen you before on some of our other webinars. So nice to have someone local. Okay, so we'll start in just a couple of moments, but I'll do just the standard introductions just to give you an idea of how this session will run today. So just to say a welcome to you all. My name is Charlotte Burton. I'm the marketing manager for the Centre for Commercial Law Studies, and part of my role is to give prospective students like yourselves opportunities to find out a bit more about studying at Queen Mary, law specifically, but also the programs that we offer. So we've got a session today specifically about our insurance law LLM program, and I'll allow Francisca to introduce herself in a moment. But before we start, just to say, if you've got any questions as we go along the session, please feel free to use the chat or the Q&A function to ask questions. I will monitor those as we go along the presentation that Francisca is going to deliver. If there's anything that's quite specific, I may answer those as we go along. But if there's anything that's quite broad that might be beneficial for everyone to hear the answer to, then I might save that to the end. So please do not worry if you have a question and I've not got to it yet. It might just be because I'm going to save it until afterwards. So we'll have short presentation from Francisca and then time for questions afterwards. So please feel free to ask anything that's burning to you at the moment. We're here to help. That's what we're here for this session. So Francisca, I'll kind of pass to you to introduce yourself, and then we can kind of go ahead with the presentation if that works for you.
Thank you very much, Charlotte, and welcome everyone to this session. Unfortunately, I can't see you and it's not interactive, but I take comfort in the fact that we are sharing an interest, which is insurance law. This is why you're here. So it's very nice to meet you. My name is Dr. Franziska Arnold-Weyer, and I'm the director of the insurance law LLM. And I'll say a little bit more about my background later on in this presentation. Apologies, so put that away. So let's start with my slides. Let me just make this so I hope you can see these slides. So if you're here for the insurance law LLM presentation, you're in the right event. And so we are one of the very many specialist programs at the Centre of Commercial Law Studies, the School of Law. Those of you who know London, you will know where we are in Holborn, which is the legal district of London. So we're very close to the courts and to the barristers' inns of courts. As it's customary, well, you always have to say something about rankings. And we've just had the QS sort of global rankings, which is sort of an organization that ranks universities worldwide. And we were very pleased to be ranked 38th in the world in law. There are also various other rankings. And often rankings don't tell you the whole story. And this is why I've just extracted this information from the QS rankings in law. And you can see that we are 38th in law worldwide, but within the UK, we are 7th. And out of these sort of institutions that are ranked before us, many don't offer insurance law at all. None of them offers an insurance law LLM. And there are two of our competitors, UCL and King's. They offer insurance law, but their teachers, as it happens, their instructors, they actually also teach for us. So at UCL, it's marine insurance law. One of their instructor is Peter McDonald Eggers, who is a barrister. He's also teaching on our marine insurance law module. And at King's is Richard Aiken, a former Court of Appeal judge, who was also teaching for us on the marine insurance law module. So a little bit more about sort of us generally. Our faculty, so this is how we talk about CCLS, Center for Commercial Law Studies. We are a community of scholars, but not just sort of legal academics in the traditional sense. Many of us, including myself, have a practice background, and we are from around the world. So amongst our student body, but also amongst academic staff, we've got virtually every continent represented, and we have very wide-ranging backgrounds. And this is also reflected in the research we're doing. So then in terms of sort of what we do, we're sort of obviously a teaching center at postgraduate level, but we are also a research center. And our research has an impact on our teaching. So obviously we have to communicate or sort of teach you the basics. But I think one of the many enjoyable things about CCLS is that our teaching then often also incorporates our cutting edge research. There are also opportunities for students to get involved in research projects through the dissertations, and I say something about dissertations in a moment. But also there are occasionally research assistance projects, and we also have Q Legal, which is a pro bono supporting community project where you can get involved in giving legal advice. So I already mentioned our location is in Holborn, in the legal heart of London. So the general program structure of the LLM is that if you're doing it full time, you'll be with us for a year. And in order to be awarded a master's in law, you need to accumulate 180 credits. And this will be a combination of specialist specialist module credits if you're doing a specialism, in your case, the insurance law LLM. And also there'll be sort of some space for getting credits from other areas. So we've got a huge amount of module choices, over 200 modules. Doing the insurance law LLM, you obviously have to get the number of credits required for the insurance law LLM. But as I said, there's some space to do something either completely different or to do something that's closely related. So for example, from banking and finance or from regulatory areas. So it's a lot of choice, and it's very exciting to sort of look through the opportunities at the beginning of the LLM. There is going to be a 2 weeks sort of induction program where you can sort of learn a little bit more about the different modules on offer. Now, so coming more to the specifics now, why is it interesting, or why would one want to study insurance law and English insurance law for that? Well, insurance is one of the very, very fundamental aspects, not just of commerce and trade, but also civil society. Everything we do as private citizens or in commerce and trade involves risk, and insurance is there to absorb the risk that cannot be allocated, say, between contractual parties, or which is too much risk for us as individuals. So it's really sort of the background to many commercial transactions. But it's also something there for consumers, of course. And if you think about it, you'll probably you've bought insurance in your life, maybe travel insurance. Maybe if you live by yourself, you might have insurance for your contents. If you own property, you may have other insurances. If you have a car, you may have motor insurance. And really what insurance does, it's sort of a risk transfer mechanism, and it's there to compensate you financially if the insured event occurs and causes you loss. So it creates financial resilience to adverse shocks. But sort of thinking about sort of the more societal aspect of insurance, it is really also there sort of as a sort of almost like a community product, in the sense that insurance is there to pool or socialize risk. So it's the idea that the risk that may be too much for one individual, by the insurance companies of taking on the risks of many and charging a premium, only some of us will suffer a loss. So we're socializing or pooling the risk. So it's a really important aspect of trade, but also of everyday life. Studying insurance law is also extremely topical, and there are many sort of topical applications or sort of contexts in which insurance law has come up. So just thinking back over the last couple of years, there's insurance is already playing, but it's also going to play a huge role in the energy transition. So all the investments that have to be done in sort of alternative sort of energy sources, but sort of the energy transition, also generally sort of carbon capture, all these investments, they are underpinned by insurance to de-risk these transactions. You may have also heard about the sort of litigation, insurance litigation in relation to COVID, which I know COVID is now thankfully a few years back, but some of the litigation is still coming through the courts. So there were various disputes in relation to business interruption insurance, so where businesses had to close down as a result of government's instructions and weren't able to generate income. Insurance is also hugely important in relation to technological innovations, in particular in relation to AI. Just think about driverless cars and how this works with motor insurance. And there's many other insurance products which are hugely exciting as well as really important to society. So, but why English insurance law? Well, the insurance industry is a global industry, and English law comes in because many of the insurance contracts and reinsurance contracts are transacted through London. So they may be insurance placed in the Lloyd's market or London market. And when they sort of are arranged or placed in here in London, they also often tend to be governed by English law. Now, English law is a very popular law to be chosen by the parties to an international or transnational insurance transaction. because English insurance law is very commercial and also very sophisticated. Obviously, in the consumer sphere, there's a more limited choice as to the governing law, but as between commercial transactions and in the reinsurance space, English law is very, very popular. Now, having studied English insurance law, you're also putting yourself into pole position for very, very exciting career prospects. Because London is an enormous insurance market, there's a whole district in the city of London, EC3 is the postcode, that has all the insurance companies and insurance law firms. You're really hopefully walking into insurance job, which many of them are very lucrative, but also I think having or working in the insurance industry is also very fulfilling because your work has a social impact. So it's not just making money, you're actually doing something really important either in people's lives or sort of in the sort of corporate life of a business. So then why study here at QMUL? So why with us? Well, we are the only insurance law LLM in Europe. There's one other university in the US offering insurance law LLM, but we're the only one in Europe. And we're the only school in Europe that offers the whole range of insurance law subjects. So reinsurance law, marine insurance law, insurance regulation, and general principles of insurance law. The module contents and our teaching styles combine the legal knowledge with practical skills. So we are already trying to sort of enhance your employability going forward by sort of incorporating into our module sort of things, sort of skills like understanding and drafting policy wordings, sort of advocacy and communication skills, advising and problem solving. And you are taught by experts. I have recently in a book review, and this is why I put in as quotes, not what I'm saying about myself, it's from somebody else has saying that I'm one of the leading insurance lawyers in the UK, and I am the author and editor of two leading insurance law books, the leading insurance contract law book, McGillivray on Insurance Law, and the leading reinsurance law book, which is the Law of Reinsurance in England and Bermuda. And these books have been cited in court and also in Parliament. Many of the instructors that we have experience from practice and academia. So I have a background as a solicitor in a city law firm, and Peter MacDonald Eggers is a barrister, and Sir Richard Aiken is a barrister and a former Court of Appeal court judge. We also run a co-curricular program to enrich your studies with many guest lectures and networking events. So this year, my students had a number of field trips. They went to Lloyd's of London. We had a guided tour of the Supreme Court, and we were also invited to Clifford Chance, a law firm, and we had guest speakers from the UK and from abroad coming to us at CCLS. So apologies for that slide design, which is probably too small to read, but Charlotte said she would circulate the slides afterwards. And I won't go through everything, but I just wanted to give you sort of a very brief outline what you can expect in insurance law LLM. So obviously you'll learn sort of the basics of the law, and I appreciate that some of you may not have studied law in the UK before, so we'll be starting gently with sort of a broad overview of English contract law. At the end of the day, insurance contract law is just like a specialist version of general contract law. We'll cover all the legal knowledge. We will learn how to analyze complex hypothetical factual insurance issues and how we can problem solve factual scenarios and do that leading to evidence conclusions supported by legislation and case law authorities. How to evaluate critically theories that underpin insurance law and principles of insurance law. So not just accepting what the black letter law is, but also really querying why is it that way, and could it be improved? What are alternatives? And for that, we sometimes look to the laws of other countries. We will also be learning how, and this is of part of your dissertation, you'll be acquiring research skills, and you will also be acquiring others of more practical skills, how to communicate orally and in writing in relation to legal matters, and how to communicate or talk about issues and developments in the insurance market. Insurance law or the insurance sector generally is unfortunately an area that uses a lot of jargon. So by the end of the year, I'd also expect you to be sort of confident in the sort of technical language and jargon that is being used by the insurance industry. We will have looked at insurance policy wordings and also have a go maybe at drafting specific clauses. You'll be able to reflect on your own learning and make use of the feedback that you're receiving, conduct research, but also sort of engage and hopefully make the most of any sort of networking and guest lecture events that we're putting on. But with all the learning, and I would stress that it is hard work, so an LLM is not walks in the park. But with all that learning, I also hope that you will enjoy your time here with us at QMUL, and that you make the most of all that London has to offer. So there also needs to be some time for fun and doing non-LLM things. So then what does the insurance law program look like? So there are some core modules here highlighted in yellow. Of which, so you need to take at least 90 credits from insurance law modules, the core modules. Then you will be writing a dissertation on an insurance law topic for 30 credits, and you have to achieve 180 credits in total. So the core modules are general principles of insurance law, insurance regulation, reinsurance law and international risk transfer, and marine insurance law. So general principles of insurance law, that's of the private law side. We'll be looking at insurance contract law. Insurance regulation is the sort of public law, the regulatory side, as the name suggests, looking how laws and regulations ensure that insurance companies conduct their business appropriately vis-a-vis consumers, but also other business partners, and making sure that they are financially stable. Because one concern, of course, with insurance is that the business model is such that the insurer gets all the money up front, the premium, and then there may or may not be a claim further down the line. But when that claim happens, and even if it's a huge insurance claim, the insurance company needs to have enough money to pay that claim. And this is why the UK regulators, the PRA and the FCA, have very strict rules on prudential regulation, it is called, on the capital or the financial resources that insurance companies need to keep. Now, reinsurance law and international risk transfer, that is my personal favorite because it goes beyond reinsurance law. Reinsurance is insurance of insurers, and it goes into sort of more innovative risk transfer methods as well. So looking into how this can be transferred and transformed from an insurance risk into financial risk that can be sort of offered into the financial markets. And marine insurance law is a module that we share with the shipping law LLM. Marine insurance law, for historic reasons, has developed slightly differently to non-marine insurance law. So there are sort of a number of very specific aspects, and this is why it's a separate module. So, and that brings me to assessments. So there are sort of in-class, what we call formative assessments. So they are assessments that are there for your own benefit to test your knowledge. Formative assessments are not assessments that count into your mark that you get at the end of the year. So in-class formative assessments could be quizzes, feedback on posts, discussions in class, or in some of my modules, I run sort of end of term revision classes where some of my students give sort of mini presentations on specific topics. For some modules, there is sort of optional formative assessment, which is then usually in the style of an sort of exam question, where you can test yourself, submit it, and you get feedback from your instructor as if it was an exam answer. So this is a really good way of finding out where you are and identifying sort of potential problem areas. So that's formative assessments. This is in contrast to summative assessments. So they're the really serious ones, the ones you're marked for. And there are sort of different types. So some of the core modules, they have online exams. You can do it anywhere. You've got a date, a time with a 5-hour window. And you can you do your answers and you submit it. So in their nature, they're like open book exams, because obviously you can consult all your course materials and books, etc. There's one of the core module exams is different. That's marine insurance law, which is actually a traditional closed book exams with only specific permitted materials. These summative assessments, they're sort of the decisive mark, so they have 100% weighting, and this is the mark that will appear on your transcript at the end of the year. Now, for other modules which are not part of the insurance law LLM, but which you may want to choose, there are also other forms of assessments like coursework or mini dissertations or presentations. Now, what exactly the exam format is, when you accept a place and you come to us in September, you will be given, I think we call it White Book, Charlotte, don't we? It's sort of basically a compendium of all the modules that are being taught, who the teachers are, what the syllabus is, and also the format of the assessment. So you, if you're sort of choosing by what kind of assessment it is, then you will have all the information in advance. Now coming to the dissertation. So for the insurance law LLM, the dissertation is a compulsory element. And the reason is that I consider that researching independently is a very important skill, not just if you choose to become a lawyer, but also if you go into the insurance industry. So this is a chance to pick a topic that is of interest to you, but it has to be related to insurance law, but in the widest sense. And I tend to be quite generous with interpreting the connection to insurance law. So it's independent research. but you are getting quite a bit of assistance. So with you have an assigned dissertation supervisor, and you will meet at least 3 times. So at the beginnings to discuss your work, then maybe a second meeting to see where you've got to, look at the stuff you've read, maybe look at an outline, and a third meeting where your supervisor may perhaps read one of the chapters in draft to give you some feedback. You'll also be supported by workshops in legal writing. And there's also sort of other help to hand if needed. Now, with dissertations in the insurance law LLM dissertation that I've supervised, I usually get some very, very good dissertations. And several of our past insurance law students have published their dissertations in legal journals or even won prizes. So it's often just surfacing of finding a topic that really sort of picks your interest and sort of going for it. Then I've also been asked to comment on career destinations. Now, many of our students are from abroad. Some of them might have already had a career in the insurance industry, and they may be choosing to go back and sort of pick up where they left, or maybe at a more senior level. For sort of those of students who stayed in the UK or who are from the UK, they tend to go and work for UK law firms or law firms abroad, or do the bar course and become barristers. They might go and work for insurance companies, and not just as in-house counsel. I've also got alumni who actually thought having studied insurance law is a good technical background, but they were more interested in the business side and actually have gone to become sort of underwriters or claims specialists, or sort of specializing in insurance wordings. There are, of course, not just insurance companies, there are also insurance brokers. And again, you could either take sort of the in-house legal route, or sort of join them in a sort of more technical capacity. There's a lot of demand in regulatory bodies. And we've also have alumni in startups and also going to other industries. So huge variety. Now, the teachers, the instructors on the insurance law LLM. So I'm the director. I'm also teaching many of the modules, and my colleagues are Dr. Andromaki Georgiou-Souli, Professor Miriam Goldby, Constanze Russo, and Professor Rosa Lastra. And as I mentioned earlier, we also have legal practitioners, and for marine insurance law, this is Peter McDonald-Eggers and Sir Richard Akins. And as part of our guest lecture program, we welcome insurance industry speakers from the law firms, but also from the insurance companies or from Lloyd's. My background is that I studied law at UCL. Then I sort of followed the traditional UK route to becoming a solicitor. I had a traineeship with Clifford Chance, one of the big sort of global law firms. And I did seats in corporate and banking and pensions, and just by chance in insurance litigation. And this is how I ended up becoming an insurance lawyer. So it wasn't by design, and it certainly wasn't the case that when I finished school and sort of thought about studying law that I thought I would be an insurance lawyer. So it was a coincidence, but I immediately loved it. And it's sort of the combination of having sort of a base law, sort of a contract law, but with some bells and whistles, having sort of some really interesting cases, lots of different sort of industries being involved, and also the regulatory side I found fascinating. So I qualified as a solicitor, and I was at Clifford Chance for about a decade. I also did secondments at Credit Suisse, Citibank, and AIG. So this is when a law firm sort of hires you out to go and work for one of their clients for 3 months or 6 months. Then I when I sort of had very young children, I decided I wanted to take a career break. But I soon found this to be a little bit boring. So I then applied to do an LLM. I did an LLM in commercial law at UCL. And then I followed up with a PhD. And because UCL didn't actually have any insurance specialists, I came to CCLS, and I've been at CCLS ever since. I finished my PhD and then became a teaching fellow. And then I was appointed as a lecturer in 2019. And so it's gone from there. And I'm now the director of the Insurance Law LLM, and I'm also the director of the Insurance, Shipping, and Aviation Law Institute. My research interests are in reinsurance law, but I'm also really, really interested in the role of the insurance industry in relation to climate change and the energy transition. So I've just published a book called Insurance, Climate Change, and the Law, which is sort of based on 3 years of research. And I was very lucky that through sponsorship from QMBL, I was a delegate at COP27 and COP28. So I made it was really good for networking, but also really advocating for the role of the insurance industry in relation to climate change. I've also advised the Law Commission. I've given evidence in the House of Parliament, and I'm a member of various research and industry committee groups. And just yesterday, I found out that I'm nominated as Insurance Lawyer of the year 2024. So, but it's a long list of nominees. So I'm not having high hopes of winning it. So if you're interested in what I'm up to, and also sort of maybe join for forthcoming events, please connect with me on LinkedIn. This is where I tend to post sort of anything sort of interest in connection with my work and any events. And one of the other teachers on the course, and I'm sorry, it's sort of can't really see the top of it. Anyway, it says Dr. Andromaki Georgiou-Zuli. She is the main instructor on the module for insurance regulation. And when you meet her in the induction week, she'll tell you all about her career. So she trained in Greece, but she's been an academic and a very, very highly regarded academic in the UK for a very long time. She's won prizes and has been a visiting scholar in other institutions, and has been working on various sort of high impact reports and publications. So she is Mrs. Regulation, not just insurance regulation. She is a super expert on anything regulatory, and you'll find it very rewarding to be in her classes. And then sort of the third key teacher and sort of full-time member of staff teaching on insurance law LLM is Professor Miriam Goldby. She is a professor in insurance law and commercial law and shipping law. She is originally from Malta, but again, she's been at in the UK for a very long time, and she is well, I would say she's a specialist. In fact, she has many specialisms, and she's excelled in several fields. And again, is very highly regarded. Has worked for the Law Commission. Has given evidence in Parliament, and has many publications to her name. And so how do we fit in with our research? So you will be, if you're joining us, I hope, you'll be doing the insurance or LLM, but the LLM programs, they are supported by research institutes. And as if you can see it here in the corner, top right corner, your teaching will be closely connected to the research done by the Insurance, Shipping and Aviation Law Institute. But there's of many research institutes here at CCLS, and it may be that your dissertation sort of delves into other areas. So we'll have experts sort of available to assist you with your research. And just a few links. And again, Charlotte will circulate these slides after the session. So you can get in touch with us and follow up on anything we don't get the chance to talk about today. So with that, I think I've talked a lot. Thank you very much for listening. And so Charlotte and I, we are very happy to take questions, and I may stop sharing now so I can.
Thank you, Franziska. What a very detailed presentation about the programme. I know we've got a couple of people on the session that are already holding offers and have accepted them, so I'm sure that'll be really helpful for a detailed insight into what they can expect when they join us in September. We have got one question that came in the chat, which was about class attendance. I'm going to summarize it in a different way. How does the teaching work in terms of face-to-face teaching or format in the insurance law?
Yeah, so our classes are in-person classes. So you'll come to the scheduled session, and there are sort of various mechanisms of registering your attendance, which I won't go into now, but basically, if for any reason you can't make it, all our classes in the insurance specialism, they are recorded, and almost immediately after the actual in-person lesson, they will go on sort of a dedicated module website. So they are available and you can watch it. And this is in addition to sort of the various sort of course materials that sort of go with every class. So if you miss a class, you can catch up. And also, I think these recordings are very useful in the sense that they take the pressure off a little bit sort of taking notes in class. So I always find sort of that students sort of knowing that there'll be recordings, they're sort of more willing sort of to put their pen down and sort of take part in a discussion because they don't feel so pressured that they have to sort of take notes of everything, and they can sort of follow up if they perhaps missed out on something afterwards.
Perfect, thank you. And are most of the classes, do they mostly take place in Lincoln's Inn?
Sorry?
Do most of the classes take place and lectures at Lincoln's Inn?
They do, yes, yeah. Because the LLM is one of the smaller programs. Well, certainly in my time since 2019, they've always been in Lincoln's Inn Field in Holborn. Yeah.
Perfect. And that's quite nice because you must get to know the students really well, being one of the smaller programs as well.
No, being a smaller program, I actually enjoy it because it really gives me the opportunity to get to know my students over sort of the 2 terms, and also for the students to get to know each other. So it's not one of these anonymous programs. It's a really sort of close group, and also some of the activities we do together with the shipping lawyers. And again, so it's a very sort of nice group. And over the year of the LLM, I think many lifelong friendships have been formed. And I'm still in touch with many of my former students.
Lovely. And I know the cohort of students at CCLS is really diverse, and we have students come from all over the world. But what sort of demographics do you see of the students on the insurance law?
Well, the demographics are there. There are no specific demographics. They are from all over the world. Well, obviously from the UK, but also from Europe. Every year I have at least one student from South America. So this year I've got a very nice student from Colombia. We've had students from different African countries. Over the years, we had many students from Asia. I don't think I've ever had anyone from Australia. So maybe I shouldn't have said from every continent. So,
Nearly.
so any Australians out there, do register so I can complete my.
And does it tend to be, do your students tend to be those that have been practicing for a little while, or?
So it's a combination. So I do get sort of straight through students who did an undergraduate law degree and then do an LLM. But I also get students who have been working in practice, some of them in insurance industry, some of them in the insurance industry, but abroad. I find this really enriches what happens in a classroom. It's a combination of different experiences, but also sort of the pre-existing knowledge of different legal systems that really makes it interesting and has given rise to many super discussions. And I've learned so much over the years from my students, which actually sometimes sort of feeds into my work. So at the moment, I'm working on a project together with colleagues from abroad, which seeks to establish a soft law framework for principles of reinsurance contract law. So basically designing sort of a default body of legal rules, because English law is so dominant, and sometimes so especially in reinsurance contracts, parties find actually English law has nothing to do with us. We want something different. So I'm working on this. It's a UNITRA project to design this body of rules with colleagues from continental law systems. And sometimes it feels like my colleagues, they speak a different language, even though we're all speaking English, because they have very different concepts of law. But then sometimes I think, oh yeah, I've heard this before from one of my students. I've got this sort of recognition of something that I've learned from students in the past.
Lovely, thank you. And I think we haven't got any more questions, so I think what's a nice one to kind of finish off on is kind of what would you say is your favorite thing about teaching at CCLS?
My favorite thing is that I can teach subjects I really, really enjoy, that I'm passionate about. So it's even when the hours are long, it's something I love doing, and also the sort of community of colleagues and the student body. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, and you've obviously been there a long time, especially doing your PhD as well. So So you must
Yeah.
like it.
Yes, since 2014, yes.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
10-year anniversary.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about this.
Okay then. Well,
Mm.
I think we'll close it there. I think the passion you have, Francisca, has really shown through your presentation and you talking about the program. So thank you so much for your time today. Thank you to everyone that's joined. As we said, the slides will be circulated to you all, and we've recorded the session, so you'll be able to have a look back at it if you would like to. So just wishing you a lovely rest of your day wherever you are, and we hope to see some of you in September.
Yes, thank you so much for joining, and hopefully see you in September. And please be in touch before if you have any questions. So
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely rest of your day. Bye
bye.
bye now.
Bye.